All right, what's up, everybody? Hope you're doing great. We're here to talk about fairy tale number 27. And we're right in the midst of the battle for the fairy tale island. We pick up with Commander Lahar, who is the person in charge of the ship that the Magic Council sent over. Our boy, Doranbalt or Mest, he pops in and they just have a conversation. Apparently, the council wants to use the ether cannon. Let's see. Does that mean the forbidden flag? Oh, Etherion. Etherion to smash the whole island and just get rid of the evil guild along with Fairy Tale and just kind of knock, kill two birds with one stone, essentially. We then switch over to Capricorn, who is the magic user who imprisons like all these people and then like sends them out to fight. And he is facing off against Leo, Gray, Kara, and Lucy. And so they jibber jabber a bit. They go back and forth and whatnot. And then Leo is like, you guys get out of here. I'll take care of him. And then we find out that this guy is Capricorn. Obviously Capricorn. He is he's a spirit. And that his magic is human subordination magic, so he can like take control of other people. So instead of being like a celestial spirit that is controlled by somebody, he controls humans like they're celestial spirits or whatever. And this is where he names him as Capricorn, which Lucy kind of knew, and that he's going to fight them because they're all humans, so his magic's very strong against them. But because Leo is not, that he is able to fight him. So I guess I should call him Loki. He's better known as that. And so then Lucy calls out to him as they kind of run off, and it's like, you better come back with me. And then Locke like summons the power of Regulus, the master of all celestial spirits, and then we get like a cool fight between them. And then they talk about how many years it's been since he's been in the celestial world, and it's been 17 years, which was as longer than Loki. And then we get some cool stuff, like Capricorn summons Sun Zhao's Jin and some other like human warriors that from like Earth. But then they have like backstories here in this world. We then get kind of a little flashback from Capricorn, and it appears that he used to be a celestial servant of Lucy's mother, Lila. What? And then the Capricorn like kind of freaks out when Locke mentions that he should have been inherited by Lucy, because that's how the celestial spirit magic thing works. And I think this is the first time we learned that Lucy's mother was also a celestial spirit magic user. Anyway, so the shonen battle continues back and forth. Locke keeps destroying all these like human minions that Capricorn's sending out, and then we find out Capricorn is possessed by like a different creature, and that there's like some taboo because like Capricorn has been like invaded by this other creature. And then like Locke does this like super attack against Capricorn, knocking him out. But then it seems like whatever entity was possessing Capricorn is now possessing Locke. And he's like, good, I'm going to go murder Lucy and take all her celestial spirits and everything's going to be great. And he's like super excited about everything. And then Capricorn punches a hole through Locke. And then they call him Zoldio, and this guy like flies out of Locke. And then Capricorn Locke's like, Capricorn, and Capricorn's like, I apologize for the excessive force, and Locke's like, no, it's cool, it's no way to get him out of me. And we find out this like super attack that Locke did like transferred his power, the power of Regulus, into Capricorn. So when Zoldio like left to merge with Locke, that Capricorn got his senses back and had all this power. And then Zoldio's like, whatever, I'm back in my own body, this is super exciting, I'll just have more power and I'll take both of you over and whatnot. And then he just like fades into nothing. And then they talk about what happened 20 years ago. So when Lila was about to die or whatever, there was like a contract where Aquarius, Cancer, and Capricorn were all sent to like different students of Lila, Lucy's mother. But then this guy, Zoldio, like refused to give up the celestial spirit to Lucy, because she had Aquarius and Capricorn for a long time, or not Capricorn and Cancer from the very beginning of Fairy Tale, but Capricorn should have gone as well, but the guy like held on and then merged with him and then caused all sorts of crazy magic. So now Locke's like, sorry, what are you going to do about Layla's daughter? And he's like, I already belong to her. So Lucy automatically gets Capricorn as like a new celestial spirit with the key, and she recognizes it and mentions it to Gray and Kara right away. And then Gray's like, I don't understand what the fuck's happening. Oh, delightful. So then they continue to travel. We get a nice shot of Kara groping Lucy and grabbing her tits and stuff, which is always a pleasure. And then we switch over to Urza and Juvia, who are fighting. What is this chick's name? Fighting this girl. And Juvia is getting attacked and damaged, even though she is water, right? And so whatever magic this lady has is causing some of those problems. We then switch back over to Natsu, who's chasing the scent of Ultir. Is the Master of Grey. And there he finds Zareth, and he's like, what? And then he's like, wait, I sense something. And it's Ultir, and she's standing up in the sky, and they go back and forth about like their previous encounter, and Natsu talks about her hurting his friends, and we find out she has like time magic, and she's sending all these bubbles to like flash forward or flash backward in time and whatnot. And so they're fighting. Then we head back over to the ruins of Sirius Island Base Camp, where Mary Jane's all knocked out, Kajil's all knocked out, and we just have Lysana and Levy. And then Elfman rolls up with the fairy girl, and he's like, oh, something, I couldn't protect her. And then, let's see, I think it's Levy Levy cries out and is super sad, and we see shots of everybody like injured or fighting or whatnot. And then we head over to Kara and Lucy, and Graves ran off on his own. But Kara's asking Kara's asking Lucy about Maeve's grave, and Mavis is the first guild master, and Lucy's like, oh yeah, I know exactly where the guild, where her grave is, and she does like this whole thing where she's like, oh yeah, I read this, and you add this with this, and you make this, and you reorganize these letters. And Lucy, goddamn Lucy, you're the best, hot, smart, funny. Oh, she's excellent. She's one of the best waifus in all of anime. Anyway, so she reveals that in that corridor E, from like way back when they had to split up between like the different corridors, that's where the grave's at. And so Kara then like knocks her out with some magic and sets her aside, and then heads out to find the grave because she's got to do this on her own. And then right after Kara leaves, we get like big fat guy, I can't remember his name, who shows up, and he's like, ooh, and then he's about to stomp Lucy, and Lucy like wakes up at the last second and like rolls out of there. I keep saying Kara. It's Kana. I apologize. So she's like, where's Kana? What have you done with Kana? The guy's like, I don't know. I'm right here. And this guy's name is Kain Hikaru. And they go back and forth and about fighting and whatnot. And he's like scared of girls or something. Anyway, he's got the curse of vengeance. So he's got essentially he has like a little doll, like a voodoo doll. He gets some hair in there and he can control it and do all sorts of stuff. And he's like, give me your hair, I'll show you. And he's like, no. And then she's like, what? That sounds ridiculous. Absolutely not. And he's like, well, I'll show you. And so he puts his hair in there, and then and then he hands it to Lucy. So we get this like funny scene where she's just like hitting it against the ground and stuff and like doing weird stuff. And he's like super mad. So he's like, give it back. And then he gets it back, and now he can use his doll to give himself like super strength or speed or whatnot as well. So she's trying to stop him by summoning Taurus and Sagittarius and stuff, but the guy just like beating the shit out of him. Like, it's no problem. Then he summons Scorpio. Scorpio's like her new super guy or whatever, super strong, and he beats the shit out of Scorpio as well, because the doll again gives her powers. And then he uses some super powerful attack, and we get like loosen all her clothes. And I'm like, God, I love this manga so much. And then Natsu shows up because Natsu is fighting Ultir and then Hiku, and they like all stumble into each other, and Lucy's like ducking, and he's like, what? They're super confused. And they have like a little back and forth. What are you doing here? Let me help you. And then he's like, let's reform our team. So because she was with Kana and Natsu was with Happy, so now three of them work together. And then Lucy does that thing in anime where she puts her hair up and she's still like barely wearing clothes, which is so fucking awesome. I love it so much. And then Hiku gets nervous because they're like being super lovey-dovey, is what he says. And little Terry's like, I'm gonna go, bye. And so Natsu and Lucy have to fight Hiku. But so they start fighting. Ultir like runs off. And then at some point, Hiku had gotten a piece of Lucy's hair, and so now it's in like the doll, and so now he's using her to do all sorts of like suggestive things. And then he's using her to fight Natsu, and she's like super strong compared to like normal because of like the doll or whatnot. And then finally, Happy is able to sneak the doll away, and then gives it to Natsu, who then uses the doll to fight Hiku as well. because Lucy is like way stronger than without the doll. Oh no, so first he just gets the doll and the guy knocks him into the cliff and the cliff face covers him so he can't get out, and then it's just Lucy versus this guy, and this guy's like way stronger than Lucy and she's freaking out. But then they have like a little chat about powered up, and this guy's about to smash Lucy real good, and then Natsu notices the doll's still there, so he picks up the doll and then he uses the doll to fight Hiku with Lucy. And then he even sets it all on fire, so she gets set on fire. He uses like an ultimate fire, like Lucy, he calls it the Lucy fire attack, which just decimates Haku, knocking him completely out. And then she and Happy work to like pull him out of the rubble, and are finally able to do that. So then there's some hilarious shenanigans with the doll and Happy and whatnot, and then they talk about what they need to do about Zareth, about how Altair is trying to get Zareth off the island and how they have to stop him, and all this crazy stuff. We go over to Kana, and then she is wandering around looking for the grave. And then Gray's thinking about everything that's going on, and then he sees Altair, and he's like, holy shit, because he thinks it's an at first, because Altair is Ur's daughter. Right. And he's like, wait a second, holy cow. And so we then switch back over to Hades, and he's like laughing, and then there's a guy there. His name is Blue Note, and he apparently is so strong that he just causes like destruction and atrophy, and I mean not atrophy, all this like darkness, and Hades is like reluctant to use him because it's like overkill or whatever. So he's like, you're gonna wait here until like we lose more people. And we find out that I think they mentioned that like 2 or 3 of the guys have been knocked out of the battle already, and it's like, if one more goes down, I'm gonna go. Back over with Mest, he's talking about Etherion and like reporting to the High Council to get them to use it or whatnot, and then he grabs, he's teleportation magic, so then he grabs the orb that they used to, or the lacrima they used to communicate, and then teleports to where Wendy and Makarov are. And then at the same time, Lucy and Natsu they run up. And so then they all chit-chat about what's going on, and about the guild, and about friendships magic, and how, he's going to, the Fairy Tail is going to destroy Grimoire Heart. That's what their name, right? I think so. Grimoire Heart. And then we switch back over to Juvia and Urza. Juvia's getting the shit kicked out of her. And so Urza starts fighting this lady, the little lowly girl who she can summon all this stuff like swords and whatnot, and so they're fighting, they're going back and forth, and then Juvia's just laying there. And then we find out that this girl was like rescued by, when did we find, oh no, she starts threatening that she's going to kill these guys, and then she's going to kill Gray, and that she has a whole like checklist of things. So like the threat level, so Juvia is like number 13 out of 13, while like Gildart's number 3, Makarov's number 2, and Gray is number 1. And then I'm my goal is to destroy Gray to protect Altair, because Altair's mother is something, and she's like, I will destroy him, I will kill him. And then Juvia's like, that's my man. And so she stands up, fully healed or whatever, and she's like, I will not forgive. And so then the whole place starts raining, and she looks like a fucking zombie. It's badass. She's got all this like dark energy flowing from her, and she starts beating the shit out of this girl with the power of like love or whatever. And so they're fighting, and then Urza, I think, takes off around here. Her feelings for that man become strength. Yeah. So Juvia tells her to go, and then Juvia, who's like barely wearing anything, awesome. She starts fighting, and then meanwhile, Gray is still following Altair, and then we head over to what are these guys' names? The tree guy, Asma, and the glasses guy who can like create anything. And so they're having a chit chat about what's going on, about what they're going to do next. We go back to Juvia and the other girl. They're fighting some more, fight. And then there's this girl has like a magic called Magility Sense. So she can bind Juvia with Gray. And so if she hurts Juvia, it'll hurt Gray. And then Juvia's still fight. And then Juvia like gets all, turned on by this because she's connected to Gray. And she's like, oh, I could die happy. It's like I'm in heaven. I'm so excited. And then so Juvia starts fighting her even more. And then the girl combines Juvia, Gray, and her. So if anything happens to this girl, like if he kills her, then it will kill Gray. And Juvia's like, I'm not going to put up with that shit. And so she beats like the shit out of her. And then we see Gray being like, oh shit. And then the girl mentions that everything's for Altair, and she'll die for Altair if that's what it takes. And then Juvia is really like, oh no, what am I gonna do? But then she just like walks up to this girl, and then um, the girl says something about I'm gonna kill myself because it'll kill Gray and that'll protect Old Tyr or whatever, and I'm not afraid of death. And then Juvia like bashes her leg in, like breaks her leg essentially, so the girl drops like the knives that are gonna kill her, or you know. And then she like cries and talks about how friendship's magic and how that this little girl needs to like shut the fuck up and stop being such an asshole, and that she needs to live and not die. And so, and then we get like, this is where we get the backstory where like Old Tyr like rescued her from some crazy thing, like a destroyed town or whatever, and how everyone else wanted to just kill her, but then Old Tyr didn't. And then at that point, Juvia's like gotten up to her and like gives her a hug and is like, life's worth living and there's no reason to be like this, and you want to live for Old Tyr, you don't want to die, and all this stuff. And like the typical fairy tale anime stuff, and about love, and love needs to keep living. And they both just like cry, and it's raining, and then they both pass out from like pain from like the battle or whatnot. And then Gray is like, oh, the connection's gone. And then Old Tyr like walks up to him from behind and is like, you and then they have a little chit chat about how Old Tyr always wanted to meet Gray and how she doesn't want to fight, she doesn't have a grudge or anything, and how they need to chat, which wraps up volume 27 of Fairy Tale. Very excellent and fun volume. So go ahead, like, share, subscribe, comment, and I'll catch you guys later.